Well, I'm very excited to talk to both of you. Flow
Yeah.
City Blues is a really crazy comic. I have to read it last night.
Oh,
Before we
thanks,
get
man.
into that, here at Bionic Buzz, we're all about people's passion. I'd like to know where your passion for being comic books kind of came from. Was a certain issue
Mhm.
inspired it? Did you want to get into industry or something that just came naturally for you? Let's start with you, Samuel.
Oh yeah. I think a big influence on that would have to be, while it's not comics, definitely the Dresden Files by Jim Butcher, that novel series. I love it so much. And then I'm a huge fan of Bill Willingham's Fables. Like I'm a big fan of Big B Wolf, and so that's actually where it kind of came from. Is I was working at, I almost got hired at a video game company who was doing an adaptation. It was called The Wolf Among Us, from Fables, and I was like, oh, I want to write on that. And I got so close, and I didn't get the job. And it was one of those like, well, I'll show you. I'm going to write my own comic. And then it kind of happened like that.
John, what about you?
Well, I've been in the comics since I was 4, so it's
Forever.
been a really long time, and I got super deep into them right away. So I've been a big, super duper collector for a long time, and I knew, as growing up, I knew I wanted to do something in comics. At first, I actually thought I was going to open my own comic shop. I know that faded pretty quickly. And then I was like, well, maybe I can work in comics. So I started writing little stories for a friend of mine in 8th grade who was a pretty good artist. And we're drawing these, he's doing this and doing that. And he started getting very upset with me asking him to change stuff or how about this or how about this? And finally he just said, I think it was right, maybe at the end of 10th grade. He's like, I can't do this anymore. You just do it. And I was like, okay, I guess that could happen. So I was a very late bloomer to drawing. So I did not start till basically right around 11th grade. So I was
Yeah.
very late. And
Wow.
Still,
it
that's
was
inspiring
just,
to other people out there. A lot of people think you got to be drawing since like you're young as you can imagine, but to make it in the
yeah,
comic industry.
and that's the only, if I was going to go back and change any little tidbit of my career or do anything, would have been, if you ask any other dude that's working in comics, any other guy or girl, they've probably been drawing since they were a toddler or doing something or doing this. And I didn't do that. So when I hit like 11th grade, I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to figure it out and just practice, practice, practice. But if I could have started when I was a little kid, I probably could have been working the day after I graduated high school. And after I finished high school, I waited a year. I went to the Kubert School for a while. And that was a story I heard when we were there that Joe Madureira, Marvel was counting the days down until he graduated high school so they could hire him the next day. Because he was
Wow.
such a deep natural talent. He was just getting better like daily. So I possibly could have had that same starting job, but I started really
Whatever.
early.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah.
I put my, you put all your time in, and I just practiced every day like you should be doing.
Hmm.
And I knew, says, I'm going to do this. This is it. And it was very weird because nobody in my family, either side, was doing art as a career. So it was very different or difficult to really make everyone like, well, gee whiz, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to draw these books. And once I started getting work, obviously that went away.
Oh yeah, I'm sure up
So
to that
you,
point, it's like, how are you gonna pay your rent? And it's like,
yeah.
Yes,
So
exactly.
your story started with a no as well, just a different type of
Yeah,
being told no.
yeah, not so much like my parents weren't so much a no. They just
Yeah.
were a little baffled, that
Well,
you
the
could
guy,
really.
your friend said no, like you do it.
Well, he
So
was
that
more
was there
getting
was that
pissed that
no.
I was asking him, like, maybe we should do it this way. He just was getting tired of the constant
uh,
criticism.
are you
The
still in
back
touch with that
seat.
friend, or
I haven't seen him. Oh, man, I haven't seen him. I'd love to get a hold of him. I just have not
Yeah.
really looked on social media. I have recently, like in the last year and a half or 2 years, I got back in touch with a lot of my other friends I've known since 2nd grade, and we were way into comics, and we all had the certain toys. Like my one friend had all the He-Man stuff, and the other guy had all of the G.I. Joe stuff. I had I don't remember. I had mostly Transformers, I think.
Nice.
So we all kind of had a big section of each thing, so we weren't not playing with everything that was super cool at the time.
Yeah.
And we were
Growing
way
up,
into
What about-
comics.
What
so
about
we were
you,
going all the
Steven?
time.
What about you? No,
Me?
Steve, not you. You've talked forever. I want to know
Oh,
about
well,
him.
it's funny because like I couldn't imagine me interviewing people as a kid because I was born with a speech impediment and being dyslexic. So I was just really shy. But like, yeah, I was really into like comics, and I would say mid 80s to early 90s, you know, and
Yeah.
I still I don't think I read them as much as I used to. While I do
Yeah.
love watching movies, animations, you know, collecting toys now. So
Yeah.
it's crazy how that just love just stays, and it's just blooming now with so many different projects now from Marvel, DC,
Nice.
and other
Yeah.
stuff. So
You
and now you got your
made your
new
weakness your strength.
exactly. And then when you're talking about like the toys growing up, I mean, I had Star Wars, Transformers, everything. I still collect that stuff now. It's like,
Nice.
The
Big
weird thing
money.
was, like, I had all the Star Wars figures. I had most of the stuff, but like the really big items, like the Millennium Falcon, the Death Star, the AT-AT.
that, yeah.
That was what I wasn't getting, but I was getting all the small stuff, like the Land Speeder, you know, the Tauntaun. So all the little figure or all the little vehicles or all the other little play sets, that's what we were getting. But
I'm gonna dip into my museum real quick and show you some of my figures.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of Transformers, these came out the early 2000s, but I love the Transformers
yeah.
movie, The Death, when that came out.
Nice.
They're on and holding up the thing. So,
Oh,
which
yeah.
ones are those?
so Hasbro came
Optimus.
up with these Marvel superhero squads, which were like
Oh
okay.
yeah.
little, so they take up too
Yep.
much space. And then they were very cartoony, which I love animation and the cartoons, you know.
Yes.
So and then they eventually made an animated series called Marvel Superhero Squad. But then
Yep.
they also branched off to Transformers, Star Wars. What else did they do? Indiana Jones, G.I. Joe. So
Oh yeah.
I think the only ones I still have left, because I sold right before I went to the Kubert school to raise some extra money, I sold pretty much all my toys. So I think the only Transformers I have left, I know I have Shockwave still in the box. And I
oh
think I
yeah,
have,
I don't know if I
I
have
think
any of
I
my
have
original ones,
Jazz.
so. Oh, nice.
I think I still have Jazz, and I have a bunch of the little ones. Like I still have all those cassette tapes, and I'm pretty sure I have Bumblebee and a couple of the little tiny ones. But all of the, I wish I still kept my Jetfire. That was still the coolest one.
Did your Jetfire, was it the arm or leg that always fell off in everyone's toy?
I think
yeah.
mine was okay. I don't remember any pieces coming
all
off
my
it. I
friends,
just
we had
remember.
that, and I was so pissed. And I was a big Robotech fan too. I thought that was
Oh
cool,
yeah,
but,
yeah. I loved
you know.
Robotech. I just pulled out. Do you remember when Kamiko was putting out that comic in the 80s? And they had that fan
Yes.
club?
Mm-hmm.
I still have all that stuff. I just found it the other week. I have that iron-on. I still have that weird widescreen poster and the letter and all those the membership
I'm
card. But
still
I
waiting for this
really
live action movie that's been in development for like what 10 years now. I feel like. You know?
Yeah.
I don't even know what
It's
studio
always
has
how
it
it
now.
goes.
yeah, I mean it'll probably be cool, but I used to love those comics when I was a kid, and I couldn't find. I love was it Next Generation where the motorcycle did the
That was my
transform down the
favorite,
guy?
man. Yeah.
You
Dave
could
Eddings,
never
yeah.
find the legit toy of that. You could only find the knockoff one. And I looked and looked, and I got a pretty good knockoff. I don't know, maybe it was like Kmart or something, but you can never find the real one. I don't know why it was so hard in my area.
There's something called Echo Squad that came out later that like licensed out the knockoffs actually.
Oh.
So that's how I got that one. So well, this is great. I could talk about toys all day, but let's get into your comic, Slow
Yeah.
City Blues. Very amazing
sir.
comic. It's kind of like this film
Oh.
noir type thing of this detective John Loris who's in this city, Slow City, which is, I mean, all these crazy characters. The guy has like a skunk and these plant people, and he's at this bar.
Thanks, man.
It's a bit of everything.
Let's talk about the genesis of this. How did this like start working together as a group, and they came up with the concept and artwork and all that fun stuff? I love hearing the journey of like projects.
It was, like I said, I almost got that job at that video game company, and I was just, it honestly, it kind of, it felt like my head opened up and it just plopped out. It was a very roughshod version of that, don't get me wrong. But then, you know, I was waiting tables at this Mexican restaurant and I was on food stamps, like the food stamp card, which is ironic because it's like I started this journey on food stamps, and then 2020 hit, you know, and I was a bartender. It's like we ended this journey on food stamps. But I saved up enough money, shout out to the government, to get the first handful of pages commissioned off of, I think like Boom had that Facebook group for like artists to submit, and I like combed through that and I found like my first artist to pay them, and you know, and I brought it to my producing partner, who then went, because I have a background in film and TV because we're in LA, and he went, I know one. I was like, I want to do a comic. He's like, I know one person, and it was John. And so John read the script, and John saw the first pages. He's like, well, these pages are god awful, but the story's pretty good. But I don't know if it's one of those, like, I don't know if it's horrible or amazing. Let me ask somebody. And I'm putting words in John's mouth, of course, but then he brought me to Jim, and then Jim went, you got a thing. It's roughshod. Of course it was roughshod. And then we went, you know, we fast forward a bunch of years later. I go to we had coined it the Shooter School of Storytelling. So it really, I learned, I got tossed, you know, John really tossed me, not to the deep end, but just like the Marianas Trench type. And we had gone through a few artists, and we found the right team. And thankfully I think we bullied John into doing the inks and the finishes. And we brought David Barron on and Tom. And so it's like, and you know, fast forward and here we are. But it started from a no and I'll show you, you know.
Well, yeah, that's good to know. I mean, if you didn't have that passion for getting this, you would have given up. Especially, I mean, going on food stamps. Wow, you know, really. You know,
you got to do what you got to do. You know,
yeah,
it's that delusion. It takes that slight bit of like delusionalism.
Yeah. Well, John, let me know your take about the horribleness of you know.
Please.
Well, it wasn't anything like that with me. I was and have been still working a ton doing other comics. So I was when we were ready to go, when we locked in the Sean Mahler penciler, I knew I wasn't originally going to do really any of the art for the book. I was just going to be like the showrunner or producer, just overseeing everything, bringing all the talent in for guys on covers and, you know, all the other people except for Sam. But when we came down to it, I knew I was going to be way too picky and I didn't want to waste time going back and forth. Like, wow, I don't like this rendering or this line work. So I was like, screw it. I'll just do it myself. And we had just had our first
your days of your friends saying doing yourself, you know, almost.
Yeah, I didn't want to. It was going to be too much back and forth, and I just didn't want to bother with all that nonsense. I knew the look. I already kind of had my mind after I saw what Sean was doing, so it was just going to be easier for me just to do it and bypass all of those arguments. So I was still doing other work for Marvel and DC, just, you know, doing that when it came in, and then doing the Slow City stuff at night when we had just had our first child. So I was pretty much only working at night all the time. So because we were, you know, just doing all the baby stuff, you know, during the morning and day, and then me trying to stay up all night. I
know that feeling, yeah.
Yes, so I'm staying up all night till like 3:30, 4, 5 in the morning, and my wife's getting all super bad. She was like, "Why are you coming to bed?" So I was like, "Well, this has to get done. I can't not finish it."
Doing the inks and the finishes, and he's the art coordinator.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there was only a few times where I fell asleep at the table while I was drawing. So I just, you know, I'd fall asleep for whatever it was, like 2 or 10 seconds, and then I'd wake up, and I was like, all right, I gotta go. I'd eat like a few handfuls of my daughter's Cheerios just to kind of give me like some weird energy boost for another hour, and then I just powered through it, and that was it. It was just nighttime
both of
work.
you, like, if you didn't have the passion for this, you really, both of you grind for this project to get made.
And
so, congrats.
And it was also my stupidity or stubbornness of putting so much line work to make every character have a different look, well, rendering and texturing. And Sam had another guy that showed up with fur and another guy that was furry. So I had to make the one fur look different than the other fur. And yeah, it was just, and once it was weird. Once I figured out what it was and I got in a good groove, you just had to keep moving. And that's where the nights I'd be up till 5 a.m. because I'd get my flow going like at 1:30. And I was like, all right, let's go. And I got a good quill and it's just moving and moving and moving. So if you get that good flow, I was pounding out like this crazy stuff in like 10, 20 minutes after I'd already synced up how I wanted it.
Very cool. I see this is published by Zoop, which is like, I guess something new. It's like very comic creator friendly, and it also helps you market and ship. Like, can you tell us a little about that?
Yeah, it's essentially, it's a turnkey service, and they handle the fundraising, like the campaign, they handle the fulfillment, they handle the distribution, they help you with the marketing. They asked us for a quote. They asked us for a quote because it's like a high profile. It's like a curated concierge service, and I gave them the like purple pithy line of what was it? It's Zoop handles the heavy lifting so pros can focus on the work they want to do. Zoop takes the ow out of crowdfunding, kind of.
Wow, I like
So
that.
Yeah.
So can anyone approach them about, I guess, like if other comic book creators out there watching this, like, you know?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Nice. Yeah, they'll they take it into consideration and everything, and I know that I'm sure they're gonna get flooded as soon as they make their actual announcement.
Gotcha.
So they've been honestly they've been a dream to work with, and they're so kind and they're so giving and they're so really like. It's nice because you hear all these horror stories of like, this is a full-time job, this is a nightmare, and they really have been on the ball. I mean, they helped run the Noctera, Scott Snyder's Noctera, and they also ran point on Keanu's Berserker campaign. So like they were the people that ran, they were the guys and gals that ran those campaigns.
Yeah, so anyway, that's great about them. So you got 5 issues of this coming out. It's launching, I guess the first one comes out June 7th, is that correct?
All of them, all 5.
Oh, they're all okay.
Yeah, so we're doing like a season 1 drop.
Oh, that's cool. And you also worked with a lot of different people to do variant covers and stuff. Can you mention about the artists who worked for that?
We can't do any mentions right now because it's like a secret thing, but we are putting out we're going to drop very soon. And I know this will come out on the 7th. So I can share this with you. This is just for you. We're putting out I have a friend who used to do all the trailers for Skybound, and then he went on to do like for Disney, and he does like other stuff. And then as a wedding present, because I'm getting married in July, he put together this insane trailer for us that has a list of all of it, and it's all animated. How like Made Fire does it, or did it, because they're not there anymore. Cool. But we're putting out this teaser trailer, and it has all the list of it, and I compare it to, and John, please correct me. I compare the lineup of our covers to a major crossover event from the big 2. Like you won't see a lineup like this.
Yeah.
Unless it's like King in Black or Deceased or shaking his head no.
Yeah. So I really did my homework, and
yes, you did.
I went out and I got the biggest lineup of A-list dudes to do our covers. And I can for surely say, bar none, no one's going to be able to beat us on doing a creator-owned book and having this lineup of mega A-list guys.
That's so cool.
All the covers are done. They're all turned in, and I have most of them sitting right here. So
don't tease him.
Is done. And
can you tell us? No, but they're right off screen right here.
No, that's all right. It's all right. I'm looking forward to the animation and stuff. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah, it looks great. It's very, very impressive.
Cool. So is there going to be any, I know conventions are slowly coming back. You guys going to be appearing anything coming up? Anything we should know about?
Right now, the only thing I have on the books is Ontario Comic Con in the middle of December. We might
Comic Con Revolution.
Yes, exactly. And so that's the only one we officially have locked in. We might be doing another one or two, but right now we want to wait and see how we do. And then we're going to proceed from there and see what shows are available. And I think in the next few months, it should be a lot more safe and not as worrisome with everything. So, and the vaccine and everything is very out now. So hopefully in the next few months, we should be at a very, very good place to not be as, concerned about going to a show and stuff. And it sucks. And, everyone misses going to Comic-Cons and everyone misses doing everything since we can't go to movies and everything. So everybody is going to be very,
but that's why Zoop is so great, right? Yeah. That's why Zoop is so great. They'll take it right to your doorstep, and we have it all done. So you're going to get it a lot sooner.
There's no waiting. You don't have to, there's going to be no waiting on anything get done. And I tried to replicate a little bit of the comic convention experience in what you can get from us through Zoop. So you can get signatures, you can get little head sketches, you can get commissions if you want to get a couple pages of artwork. So we're kind of doing as much as we can.
We're doing the original artwork. We're selling some original artwork. It's it's a fan respect and appreciation thing, but
so you're getting almost the same thing, except just the not in person and no handshakes, but you're getting basically everything else you would get if you were at a show with us.
I'll mail you a handshake though.
Yeah,
I will mail you.
I'll take a handshake in the mail. Oh, that's so awesome. Well, guys, where can we follow your journey on social media? And if you have anything for Slow City Blues, also on website, social media wise, so when you can make this big announcement, or if there's down the road, other shows you're going to be announcing that, things start to get back to normal, like I said.
John, you want to plug your Twitter and I'll.
My Twitter is the number 1, John Livesay.
And then both our Twitter and our Instagram is at SCB Comics with an S at the beginning and the end. And you can find the sign up is right now. Our link to the website is in the bio on both of them. So you can go there, and by the time this comes out, you can make your purchase and get the early bird special and check out all of the cool stuff we're gonna have.
Awesome.
Yeah, the early bird specials we're gonna have for the first 2 days are great. It's definitely worthwhile really taking advantage of that. So there's gonna be some really cool stuff, and all the stuff that came with the tiers, it's really nice. And since I am such a collector, I tried to really make that part of the focus to make it very appealing to if I was going to go on there and get something, to make it very appealing.
Absolutely. That's very appreciative from fans. Well, thank you guys so much. I look forward to hopefully meeting you sometime at a convention down the road.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see
go to that Revolution one. We'll be there.
Yeah. And I want to see you in your Darth Revan cosplay. I want to see that Darth Revan cosplay with the 2 sabers. Let's go.
Oh man.
Hell yeah.
I would love to see him one day in live action form. I'm praying.
I think they're gonna do that, right? They're gonna do they're doing the.
I heard there was some reference of him in Rise of Skywalker. I had no idea, but
passing. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was like there was a section in the Sith area. It was like the Revan statue or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So. Anyway, so thank you so much, man. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Hanging out with you.
Thanks.
You guys are great. So